Welcome to Built for This, the podcast where purpose meets performance. Hosted by business strategist and human behavior specialist Carly Pepin, this show dives into the real stories behind high-growth businesses. Let's bring life to your vision.
Awesome. Welcome, guys. So today's going to be a really fun one. I'm excited to dive into this with Tommy and his company. I have Tommy Lather on today. He is a lifelong landscapes construction professional, self-taught software developer, and builder of relationships and automations. He has been in the industry for over 25 years in every facet of the industry, from supply, operations management to sales and estimating. Tommy found his passion for developing and implementing systems and processes utilizing the latest technology to deliver his customers unimaginable efficiency. So welcome, Tommy. It's great to have you.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit about Takeoff Monkey so people know what we're talking about. It's a really cool program.
Sure. So, what we do, every time a contractor wants to submit a bid, they first need to count and measure all the materials that they'll need to include in their bid. So we do that counting and measuring process. We do it. We process a couple hundred jobs a day. We do it for a few hundred different contractors throughout the U.S. We don't do material pricing or labor. We purely publish quantities.
Awesome. And I'm curious as well, how did you get into this?
So, working in the landscape world, I spent most of my career as senior estimator for a large contractor down in Austin, Texas, and the takeoff process was a huge bottleneck for us. We couldn't put a bid out until we'd counted and measured everything, and it's an extremely laborious, time-consuming task. And so we had folks in-house doing it. I ended up about halfway through my tenure there outsourcing it to a group in India. I've worked with that group now for close to 20 years, so when I left that company and moved up here to North Carolina, and people were calling asking for help, and I decided to put my team to work, and it just sort of took off from there.
Yeah, and I think this is cool too, because the individual that you connected with in India, so she just started with you, but now she actually manages a significant quantity of individuals over there. So how many people is she overseeing in India?
Sure, yeah. So when I started Takeoff Monkey, she split off with a few of her best guys. We rented a corner of her husband's software development office, and there were three of us, four of us, and now that office houses over 100 people.
It's amazing. It's
And we
very
kicked
cool.
her husband out.
I love that, by the way. I've worked with a lot of women in India, so she has a really special husband, just based on what I'm hearing. He sounds really cool.
He is. He's great.
Yeah, different culture out there. Tell us a little bit what it's like to work with her. Like, how have you guys expanded? Do you just fully put her in charge and kind of give her the direction to go? What's that been like for you as you're overseeing basically overseas employees?
So it's a challenge. Working with any company in India, there's the language barrier, there's the time zone barrier. So I started getting up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning so that I would overlap. And now if I can sleep until like 5, that's so really, that's me sleeping in. So the time zone was a big one we had to accommodate, but we've got three main teams in India, each with their own sort of specialty. She is by far the largest, um, but it's been it's an art form to instruct and guide and work with groups overseas. They want to take everything very literally. So I've learned how to be exceptionally clear and sometimes a little too verbose because that's kind of how we have to be. Um, but it's been amazing. I mean, just getting to sort of secondhand witness their culture and the things going on at the employees' personal lives and just watching it from afar and all their holidays and things. It's been a lot of fun.
That's really cool. I'm curious as well, like as you start to notice the cultural differences, what would you say has shifted in your management style just based off the cultural differences out there?
So they they tend to be exceptionally respectful and proper,
Yeah.
which to some people can be a little off-putting. Um, Working with different groups throughout the whole of India, there are certain pockets where now obviously my main gal, she owns the business. She's, a boss woman. But other parts of India don't see women in the same way.
Yeah.
And my team here in the United States is almost all women. And so they're in the beginning working with some of the groups in South India, especially. These guys didn't want to take orders from a female. So I would have to step in, and that's one thing that I just did not tolerate is disrespect for gender, for God's sake. But we've since well overcome that. Um, but yeah, they like to be extremely respectful, except for certain pockets where women are considered a little bit different.
Yeah. No, I definitely I've seen it. Again, I've worked with a lot of Indian clients, so I've had the opportunity to see that. Again, good for her. It's not the easiest thing out there. So that's actually pretty cool. And I'm curious, like, as you guys are hiring out there, is she solely in charge of expanding the team, understanding like how many people are meant to be on the team? Do you give her kind of full reign on that?
She has full reign over her team. Um, we stay just by virtue of the value of the U.S. dollar in India, we can afford to stay somewhat overstaffed,
Mhm.
so that we can accommodate the ebbs and flows of the business. But no, she has full free reign. Obviously, if we had an issue with somebody, we would take it up with her and she would address it. But the overall the talent pool in India, from what I've experienced, is very deep and very wide.
Yeah.
Um, we've had far fewer issues with employees in India than we have here in the United States, especially considering we're fully remote.
Yeah, that's wild. And I'm curious as well with the United States employees, how many employees do you guys have in the States? And then are they all local or is everyone remote?
We're all fully remote. So
Hmm.
there's 10 of us here in the States. There's a few of us here in North Carolina. We just had someone start this week in South Carolina. We're in Florida. And then we've got four ladies down in the Dallas Fort Worth area. So it's all remote, which for me, it certainly took some getting used to. But now we're all pretty well used to it, and it's actually very social. Contrary to what you might think, we live on Slack. We're on Zoom a lot. We converse and collaborate actually probably more than I ever did working in person.
That's cool. That's very cool. I'm curious as well because something you mentioned was in India, you've had less challenges with the employees than you've had in the States. What would you say the difference is with employees from the States versus India, where you're kind of running into these challenges?
The work ethic in India is just phenomenal.
That's cool.
Um, it's just been phenomenal. The respect thing. There's a lot more humility
Hmm.
uh, in India versus here, where people tend to, not all people, of course, but some people tend to feel entitled. Um, and some people equate fully remote with I'm not going to do a damn thing and
Yeah.
answer a few emails. It doesn't work that way in India at all. It's it's been it's been wonderful not having that issue with people so far away.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's true though. There is a different sense of entitlement and kind of expectations in the States. How do you manage that as you move forward? Because I imagine that's still a challenge that you're going to face as you hire new people in the States.
So we initially we I kind of was blind to it. I look back
Mm.
to some of my first hires and really kicked myself letting people hang on for longer than they should have. But we implemented a tool called Time Doctor at one point. That that weeded out a few. But now I think the biggest difference is we've got more clearly defined roles. There's a lot more work to go around, and we're still a small team. So if you're not pulling your weight, it
Hmm.
gets noticed almost instantly. Um, so yeah, more clearly defined roles, better systems. We can actually measure productivity a little bit better. So all those things help. Plus, we're mostly hiring from within our own network.
Hmm. That's awesome. No, I think that's definitely wisdom to catch it early. I'm curious too, when you guys do catch something like that where someone's not being as productive, is there now something like a structure in place? Do you know when you guys are training to move them up or when you're kind of planning to exit them? I say this because I just started working with someone and we calculated the cost of someone they've held on to, 7 figures. They fired them after the call. Like, sorry, not sorry, but it was a 7 figure cost. And not even to the company, it was to what they take home at the end of the year.
That's
So
terrible.
I know. So it was really big. So that's what I'm curious, like, how do you guys allocate that now to just ensure, okay, this person is worth training, investing time in versus like, let's get them out fast.
I look for someone who cares. It's real simple. If they care about their job, they care about doing a good job, they care about our customers, I can work with anything. I always tell every employee, I can be the most accommodating, understanding person on the planet as long as you're honest. As soon as you start to bullshit me, I've got no room for it. So
Yeah.
if someone cares enough to be honest, be truthful, we'll work through anything. But I also always say attitude over aptitude. Um, I would much rather have someone very green who is eager and motivated than someone who's been doing this for 40 years that is set in their ways and is going to try and tell us how to run the business versus the other way around.
Yeah, it's amazing. I hear that so much from owners and executives now is like they'd rather have someone green, right? Because it's like the other people come in and they're kind of telling you what to do and all these different dynamics. So even when you're hiring at an executive level, a higher management level, are you guys still looking for people who have open space for training? I'm curious about that.
So the technical things we can teach. Um, we can't teach someone to give a shit. We can't teach
Yeah.
someone to be honest. We can't teach integrity. So I really I look at character. I don't know that I've ever asked or even looked at someone's education. Their work history certainly helps, but
Hmm.
if they're eager, we've got everything, especially at this point. We have everything so well documented. Our systems are so fine-tuned, it's pretty plug and play. So we're mostly these days looking for attitude and someone who's just going to be a good fit. And to be a good fit, I think anywhere, you really just need to have some humility and
Yeah.
integrity.
And I'm curious too, because it's like when we're putting out these job applications, descriptions and stuff, generally you're giving your background and your education. So when you're looking at a resume or a cover letter, how are you guys picking and choosing as you kind of move beyond, as you're saying, like this is your education, but kind of reading between the lines to understand maybe this person is a good cultural fit as well.
So we put ads out on LinkedIn occasionally, and we'll get hundreds of applicants within a
Yeah.
day. And it's just ridiculous. I don't know what LinkedIn did, but it does rank them and tell you who is the best fit. So we'll look there, but I don't know that we've ever hired anyone that we've chosen. Everyone I think that's on board with us now has come to us.
Hmm.
So I put an ad out. They might submit an application, send in their resume, but then they also go above and beyond and they send me a LinkedIn message or they track down my email and they're, hey, I'm really interested in this position. I I'm inclined to give them an interview on the spot, and I mean I think that speaks volumes. If they're going to go that extra mile to pursue a job with us,
Yeah.
then that's a really good start.
Hey everyone, it's Carly. If you're really resonating with what we're talking about and want to get clear on what truly drives you, what your core values are, head on over to my website. In the tools and tips section, there is a free values assessment. And this is a quick exercise that's going to help you to uncover what actually matters most with you so you can lead and live with more clarity, fulfillment, and momentum. Yeah, they actually really want it. It's funny because sometimes, well, I talk to some, my younger friends and family members, and I'm like, just show up at the office. Nobody shows up at the office. If you just hand in a paper resume, I was like, you're like 5-star effort right there.
Yeah. Yeah, just show that you care, that you want it. That drive is, I think, what most employers are looking for. When I interview someone and all they're asking about is vacation pay and benefits, it's just come on, you know. We want someone that cares that, I don't expect anyone to care as much as I do, but
Mm,
care a little bit.
yeah.
And that'll take you really far.
That's awesome. I'm curious as well, like with the culture you have now, as it is so important for employees to care, like how do you keep them engaged in the mission of the company, what you guys are up to, what you're doing, so they know the importance of it beyond just clocking hours?
Well, we communicate constantly.
Mm.
I try to treat the company very much like a democracy. I hate having to, issue edicts and, it's going to be this way. Bum. No, we discuss it. We collaborate. I want everyone to be happy with all of our decisions. So it's very open forum. Everything's up for discussion. And four of us all worked at a national wholesale nursery years ago.
Mm.
Um, all of us, we worked together at the same time, but in different areas. And this company was emphatic about customer service and sales. And they made us read all these books and do all these training programs. And that really carried through, stood the test of time, 20 years. Many of us have had multiple jobs since then, but that attitude from that old nursery, the company's not even around anymore, has it's contagious and it's been brought here and it's spread throughout the company here.
Yeah, I love that. That's very, very cool. Do you guys have it kind of written down in the culture as core values? Did you cement that in yet, or is it just sort of naturally evolved into that?
It's pretty well naturally evolved into that. But we all have read Customers for Life by Carl Sewell.
Yeah.
Um, we read that multiple times at the nursery, and I think everyone here has read it by now. But that's sort of our customer service Bible.
That's cool. I took a note of it. I haven't read it yet, so I was like, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so I'm curious too, this one I want to get into. We're going to sort of change gears a little bit because something that we had talked about in the pre-call, which is I think what everyone wants to do, is you really cut your overhead. So share with us how much you actually cut your overhead, and we'll dive into the details of what that looked like.
Yeah. So in 2023, I sort of fell in love with automation and software development. And we were at a scale where small, little, redundant, repetitious manual processes were really eating us alive. So I just took it upon myself to start automating as much as I could. And from 23 to today, we reduced our overhead expense by 70% by automating. We put some stuff back on the customers through software, and we're 70% more efficient because of it.
It's a lot. It's actually really amazing. And when you guys started that, did you think like, I'm gonna start the automation? Was that something that you had to sit down and talk about, or was it just sort of stewing inside you for a while and just you're like, now I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get it done.
So prior to 23, I had it in my head that, if I wanted to build
Mm.
out these robust automations, it was going to be extremely costly. What led me to start learning on my own was I got a quote from a few software companies for a custom Slack bot I wanted.
Hmm.
And the pricing I got was around 15,000. And I just thought that's not right. That's too much. And so I spent an entire weekend with ChatGPT and I created it in 2 days by myself, knowing nothing. And from then on, I was just hooked. And so we just started looking at our not only our time consuming tasks, but the error prone tasks.
Hmm.
What can we automate that's going to make us more accurate and faster?
Yeah, I'm curious, what are the time-consuming tasks that you guys were able to replace with automation?
So, like capturing incoming
Mhm.
projects, that used to be you read an email, you transpose it into a system called into Monday.com, you download the files, you set up full all these steps, and they can get skipped, and that can cause problems. So that was the biggest one. When a customer sends us a project through in one of three ways, through our website, through email, or through their portal. It automatically gets loaded up. The files get loaded into a production folder. It appears in Monday. And now there's only one little manual step just to say, yes, this is good to go. And we click it and it's
Yeah.
done.
That's awesome. My husband's really into that stuff. He's getting us set up as we speak with some of these like automation things. And I had no idea that like you could do things like this. And he's like, someone will just email you. They email you the details. It's going to upload in the system. You just check it and you confirm. And I was like, that sounds amazing. And you're right. It saves so much time, so much energy, so much effort. So now when you guys are doing that, are you guys also training everyone in India on all these new softwares as you launch them?
No, everything that well, yes, we've built some tools for our team in India. And so we build it out to where anyone could use it, and I'll create like a little 60-second guide that will explain, little troubleshooting tips and just basic how to use it. But the apps we built, I'm learning this part-time, so they're really not, you know, I don't know. I I I I don't think they're technologically earth-shattering. They're just very specific, and they happen to save us specifically a ton of time.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, we give tools to our guys in India. We have tools that our customers use, and then a ton of automation that keeps the administrative side of tracking all of our work and uh, measuring all of our work to keep that flowing as seamlessly as possible.
That's cool. And I'm curious too, so even with the automation dynamic, you mentioned some of it is correcting errors. So what did you automate that was helping you guys correct a lot of the errors that were occurring?
So the let's see, what would be a big one? One source of issue was one of our customers. They were frequently coming back wanting to revise projects, and we're talking 20, 30 projects a day would come back. They'd want to change this or that. But they weren't wanting to reload it into their portal in Monday. They just wanted to send us a Slack message and say, here, do this. And those Slack messages were getting missed all the time.
Yeah.
So I built a Slack bot where they can send a Slack message and say, hey, revise this job. And they put a hashtag in front of the job number and an exclamation point afterwards. And it creates a revision and puts it into their portal, and everybody's happy. And all they had to do was send a Slack message just like they wanted to.
That's awesome. And so you're basically the one doing all of these automations and programming, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
we have one part-time developer who he helps with the front end, the UI. But yeah, everything that we use today was built by me.
Yeah. And what do you love about coding? Because you can't do this without actually love coding.
Yeah, there's
Mhm.
just something mystical about having like all these characters and numbers and all these different colors on your screen, and it looks super confusing. And
Yeah.
but then you click run and it works. It's just like the best feeling in the world. Um,
Yeah.
it can also be extraordinarily frustrating. As you can imagine, you have a comma in the wrong spot or something silly, and you're sitting there wanting to, slam your head through the wall. But I just love it. I love learning about it, doing it, watching it. I don't know, it just fits nicely in my brain. It's a nice mixture of engineering and creativity.
That's cool. I'm curious too, because when you think about doing this in the future, would you say that you'll probably just continue to expand on your own coding? Do you think you'll hire like an outside company eventually as you start to scale to create something very customized, like solutions for you? Do you think you'll just wind up hiring developers? As it sounds like you're definitely not done coding.
No, no, we're far from done. So the goal here as of late is to build right now all of our tech is only available to customers who are using our services. So I'd like to build out a system that helps our customers manage their bid board, but as a standalone SaaS product where they don't have to pay us for our services. Obviously, we would like them to, but just have one standalone SaaS product with pure
Mhm.
SaaS revenue. Um, and to do that, I would like to hire a CTO, but I really don't think we need too many people because AI can do so much of it.
Mhm.
I don't need, 15 developers. I think three or four, and we can fly through this stuff.
That's amazing. When do you guys think you'll get started on that next project, creating your own software?
We've been working on it now for about 9 months.
Hmm.
We've got the core functionality working end to end, and we're, as we speak, integrating it into a user interface and working out bugs and stabilizing it. And um, with software, the one thing I don't love about development is you have a simple idea for an app that does one simple thing, and at least in my mind, it seems like, oh, this is a 10-minute project, but um, it it can be all consuming. And this project has been no different.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is why most people don't get into software unless you really like it or it's really the next step in the business.
Yeah, yeah, I suppose so,
Uh,
but I don't know. I'm very lucky. I get to wake up and play with tech all day.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm curious too, because even talking about you get to play with tech all day, you're getting to really engross in this project. Is how have you managed to manage your company where you're delegating to such a degree that you're not basically involved in all the day to day anymore, so that you could focus on a creative project that inspires you?
So my our director of operations, lady named Janet, she and I worked together at the nursery '07 to '08 or so. She runs the day to day extremely well. Um, as I mentioned, the team is almost all women except for the one developer. Um, and they all respond to her, and she's allowed me to be able to focus on these more fun tech projects.
That's awesome. And when you guys are checking in on just like day to day, and how do you basically stay updated? You guys do regular meetings? What's that look
Oh,
like?
we just stay in constant communication over Slack. I mean, not constant, but we're continuously chatting on and off throughout the day. Um, and I'll of course get involved with if there's a big fire, or if there's a customer I'm really interested in onboarding, um, personnel issues occasionally, but we just chat. Even when we're not working, we're just chatting back and forth. It's been a really awesome dynamic.
Oh, that's cool. Well, it also sounds like you guys have a really good relationship, just very long standing.
Very long standing. In some ways, she's almost like a second mother now and then.
Hmm.
She can be kind of protective. Um,
That's fun.
but no, she's great. We work together extremely well. I'm very lucky to have her.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very cool. And I'm curious too, so you mentioned that you don't even have salespeople anymore, that everything is word of mouth and referrals. So share with me a little bit about how you were able to basically create that dynamic with your customers, that they are sharing about you so much. I mean, they're your champions in a sense.
They are. In
Hmm.
the very beginning, our customers didn't want to tell anyone about us. Almost like we were like a little secret weapon. We were also very, very small, and we gave them a lot of attention. But these days, our name is out there, at least in the site work world. Um, we're pretty well known, and I feel like that's given our customers a little bit more comfort in just sharing. Oh yeah, we use Takeoff Monkey. They're great. Um, it- there's no hiding us anymore, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And so people actually know about you. And it's like, since we can't hide, we'll refer.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. And I mean, we really do go far above and beyond to make our customers not just happy, but thrilled.
Hmm.
We do that consistently, um, and customers, are happy to share and boost us a little bit, I suppose.
Yeah. And I'm curious too, because as you kind of go through where you say you go above and beyond, what does that look like for your customers?
Um, One big thing that I'm big on is uh, I never want to go to a customer with a problem unless
Mhm.
I have a solution. Um, hey, these drawings are terrible. However, we can do X, Y, and Z. Um, but but moreover, it's just communication. Hey, we can't have this to you today, but we can have it to you tomorrow. Does that just things that don't it's not, again, not earth shattering, but it's really hard to find. We do what we say and we say what we do. um and it works.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know it's actually like it's not a top priority for a lot of people, depending on what their goal is. I think Walmart, they made me laugh because one of their KPIs is if they're not getting enough complaints, that means they're overstaffed in the store, which will raise the price that they have to give you. So to keep the low prices, they understaff and they actually measure the quantity of complaints, which is wild.
Wow.
I know, but they're based on pricing, right? So it's not
Yeah.
really quality of service. It's just, can we give you the actual lowest price and promise you that? That's why when you go to Walmart, you don't find anyone.
Holy cow, I'd not heard that.
That was
Oh,
so fun when I heard that. I was like, huh, great KPI. Like,
yeah, we're not shitty enough.
yeah, if we're not shitty enough, we're doing too good of a job, we're not getting complaints, which means we're gonna have to raise your prices.
That's unbelievable. Wow.
Yeah.
No, uh no, we just do what we say and say what we do.
Yeah,
That's really it.
that's
We answer the
awesome.
phone, we respond to people, and it's hard to find.
Yeah, no, that's actually really awesome. I'm curious, are you guys considering having sales individuals come on when you launch the software? Just being because it's just like a different program, it's a different dynamic, or do you think it'll, because it's such a natural shift within the company, that a lot of the current customers might transition to that model and sort of make it easier to spread the word?
So our current customers would definitely be users
Hmm.
of the platform, but it doesn't remove us, our services from the mix. Um, I, I've thought about this a lot, and I really think marketing is the better answer. A marketing person or multiple people who can push us on social media and all the things. We really don't do much marketing today, and do like business development where they're going to
Hmm.
trade shows, they're interacting, they're speaking, but not necessarily one-on-one direct sales. Um, I tried that in the beginning, and our transactions are relatively small for these guys. And I don't know about you, but when salespeople call me out of the blue and want to sell me something, it pisses me off,
I
and I
know
don't
you
want to do
will.
that to our customers.
Hey everyone, it's Carly. So, if this conversation is really hitting home and you want to get a real snapshot of what's working and what's not in your business, head on over to my website in the tools and tips section and you can have the business performance health check. In just about 15 minutes, you're going to see where the friction is and where your next growth opportunity lies within your company.
I like to, hey, we're here, and we're your obvious choice.
Yeah.
We're here when you're ready.
Yeah, that's actually what the podcast was for because I'm not big on networking and pushing my services. And I was like, how do people get to know me? And I was like, oh, I could do a podcast. And I was like, that would be fun. But it's like, how do you connect with people without being pushy or salesy or harassing them? And then now when I do, it's like, okay, how do I get to know this person? What would be valuable to them? And I get to do that though, because I have a different thing that I'm selling. It's a bit more of an investment because it's a different package in a sense, but
Definitely.
it's like about getting creative. I love that. It's like, how do we want to be sold to?
Yeah, I try to raise awareness, who we are, what we can do, and just stay top of mind. So when that need or that want arises, we're the first group you think of.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. And okay, so another question I have, because I know you guys are very cash flow positive, which is amazing. Not a lot of companies are cash flow positive, which is sometimes why they're seeking like outside funding, all those different dynamics. So I know that you guys have done very little of getting outside investments and raising capital. So what are the things that actually have kept you cash flow positive?
Um, gosh, we did take on a little bit of capital in 21 and 22, um, and we were negative for maybe 6 months, and I just hated it. I see a lot of startups out there that, their whole thing is I got to raise money so I can raise my valuation, so I can raise again. And it's just this hamster wheel where um, I started this business to make money, and um, I, I I don't know. I can't wrap my head around just burning through cash. I've seen a lot of companies raise a bunch of money, blow
Yeah.
up a huge valuation, and then that funding stops coming in and you're gone. And I couldn't stomach losing my business. I don't know. I can't go there.
Yeah, I love that though. It's like it sounds like it's really gotten you to focus on being cash flow positive just to ensure that the business isn't going to go away. Like it stands the test of time.
Yeah, our
Hmm.
customers need us. My employees need their job, and I don't take that lightly.
Yeah.
I preserve what we've got for the sake of them, if nothing else.
It sounds like one thing that you're doing, which you sort of mentioned, it's like you're not going crazy into spending, crazy into growth, right? So how are you analyzing opportunities to ensure, like even with the coding stuff, right? Like you have one part-time developer. Like how are you basically analyzing opportunities or managing cash flow to make sure it's like instead of hiring 6 developers now, you're like, I'll just get someone part-time. Like how do you manage that within yourself so that you're keeping cash flow positive?
I get asked that question a lot,
Hmm.
and I really don't have a good answer. I have I keep a feel. I keep a
Yeah.
pulse on the business. Um, and my first investor, he he used to tell me, and he was right. In the beginning, I had shiny object syndrome,
Yeah.
where I'd hear about something new and I'd just be all over it, and I'd want to put all my eggs in that basket. And uh, I had to learn some hard lessons that that's not a good way to be. And he always tells me block and tackle, work the ball up the field, block and tackle, and that's all we're trying to do. We make little bets here and there on certain things, but I don't know. I I know my employees extremely well. I know my customers even better, and I just make decisions with all of them in mind.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm curious too, like when you think about the future of the business, do you have a plan, like a strategic plan for the long-term vision of the business yet?
The long-term vision is continue to build the tech side,
Hmm.
pivoting slowly to more and more of a technology business, um, leverage the technology to start servicing all trades, not just site work. So grow in that sense, and and then in 10 years or so, I hope that someone like a Procore or a Building Connected will come along and buy us, and then I'll go do something else.
That's cool. I know that even just having that like goal and that dynamic and the strategy is really helpful when we make decisions because it's like, does this align with the future decision? Yeah. And we could say yes and no very quickly.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. I'm curious too, do you think about like what you would do next if you sold the company?
I've thought about it a little bit. I kind of miss the contracting world. Um, so I've always thought here in North Carolina, gosh, if I had a landscape company that did extremely high-end residential and I just smothered these people, my clients, with service the way I do here, um, man, I would really have something and I'd be creating a tangible something.
Mhm.
Um, something uh just something that I could pass on to somebody or doesn't have to be some majorly profitable cash cow or anything, but just a nice, you know, happy customers, healthy little business. Nice way to pass the time.
Yeah, that is cool. I do like the idea of like creating something that's physically cemented in the world.
Yeah.
That is really cool. Do you think you'd stick to residential or also do commercial stuff?
Right now, everything we do is in the commercial world. And while for Takeoff Monkey, we love the commercial world because it's big and it's repetitious, and it's very document driven.
Hmm.
The residential world is a lot more fun. In the commercial world, if the plans say to plant the sod upside down, they're going to do it. Nobody gives a shit. That's what it says on the plans. We'll plant trees upside down. Don't care. That's what it says in the drawings.
Hmm.
Residential, there's a little bit more of a human element and like an aesthetic uh, drive behind it. It's you're not just working off of a stack of documents
Hmm.
this thick.
Well, it sounds like the way that you want to do it too is like, are you looking in the future where you're thinking, I want to partner with architects, like really great architects to create these beautiful buildings? Because the way that you describe it sounds definitely more intentional than just building a residential house.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm imagining being a residential landscaper, and just creating just incredible outdoor spaces.
Yeah.
And for that, yeah, I would. I I'm mostly function, not a lot of form. So yes, I would certainly partner with some architects or designers to design those spaces. I would just like to be the guy that builds them and hands over the keys, so to speak, to the new owner.
That's cool. That is cool. My parents had a really good landscape designer back in the day, and boy, oh boy, was it cool to see those sketches come to life. And he was
Yeah,
amazing. I think that they found like a diamond in the rough sort of situation, but it was phenomenal, like the things that he created. It's cool.
yeah. That's how I got started in business. I worked at a little garden center and people would pay me to come over after work and spread mulch or whatever, and that grew into an actual landscape business and I really loved it. So I'd like to
Yeah.
get back to that.
That's awesome. I do want to switch gears a little bit. There's something on your website when I was researching you, and I was looking at your website. You have a video and introduction there. It is very silly. It is very goofy. So I'm curious what the like, when you guys were thinking about when you created a video like that.
Um, I the name, the sort of edginess of our brand, it's what we do is very dry, very boring. So I wanted to make it a little fun, present ourselves as very approachable and relatable. And with that video in particular, I wanted something memorable. And I think we nailed it with that one, but I set the bar too high. I think we're never going to be able to top that one. That was a ton of fun to make that video.
Yeah, you guys are gonna have to get creative.
Really creative. Yeah, we've done some others where we did like spin-offs on like little nature flicks with monkeys doing goofy things. But yeah, that intro was that was one of a kind.
And I'm curious too, because you don't get too much into marketing present day, but funny enough, like you guys have created this great sort of brand dynamic and this opportunity to do more marketing. So I'm curious why you haven't focused on marketing to that degree, considering what you've already established as your baseline.
We work with a third party group. I've tried having people in house, and at the time we just weren't big enough uh, to really make it make sense. Um, but I don't know. It's really I guess just a matter of time and my energy
Mhm.
to come up with things. Yeah, I that's a good question. We should be doing more marketing for sure.
It sounds like you're really focused on the coding though, which you're having so much fun with.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's true.
So don't expect anything, audience, until he launches that program, because I think you're having too much fun with coding.
I definitely am.
That's awesome. And so I'm curious too, like, just as a founder, what would you say the hardest part of being a founder is that most people aren't seeing?
Uh, Doing it alone can be really, really lonely, and it requires an enormous amount of discipline. In the beginning, especially when I was, sales and I was everything. I'd have one job go wrong, or one prospect, slam the door in my face, and I'd want to quit. Um,
Yeah.
don't quit. Just by not quitting, you will be successful. The longer you don't quit, you're going to be successful. It it can be very, very draining, very depleting, and very lonely, but don't quit.
Yeah, it's actually really good advice. Some of my colleagues have asked me that in the coaching world, and 'cause there's thousands of people who take the thing and their businesses don't succeed, and they ask me how I did it, and I say, I'm gonna be truthful. I'm probably not the best person. I'm not the worst person, but like I just kept going. Like you
Yeah.
cannot stop. You just can't stop. Even when it gets hard, when it gets difficult, when you have your downs, when you have your ups are great, you're very excited, but it's like if I know if I'm not planning for the downs, I can't make it. I can't make it after an up. And it's just you have to keep going.
Keep going, and the
Mhm.
longer you keep going, the higher your chances are of great success. You
Yeah.
quit, you're done.
Yeah. You're done. Then you're done. Then you're asking everyone else how they did it. Just keep going. Keep going, keep learning, keep trying.
Yeah, keep going
Yeah.
and stay focused. Something one of my old bosses told me is that if your purpose and your true passion is in what you're doing for your customers, you're truly passionate, you truly care, then the money, the cash, the size, the whatever, that all of that stuff will fall into place if your heart is in the right place in doing
Mhm.
whatever your business set out to do.
Yeah, it's amazing advice because it's like basically all that equates to is you just provided someone with excellent service. And even if you aren't the best, like you're willing to do the best job and sort out the problems and fix it for the customer. It makes a huge difference when you love what you do, because then it's like you just are not going to give up if things falter with your customers.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
if you set out and your goal is, "Oh, I'm gonna get rich," um, y might not work out. You gotta have a true purpose that you truly care about,
Yeah, yeah. It's very, very true. This is very
and a
true.
legal
And
one.
yeah, a legal. A legal one is helpful. I mean, I
Yeah,
find it easier
definitely.
to function. Oh, that's awesome. And I'm curious just the difference even between having that dynamic as a founder versus the challenges today that you face as a founder, because that's a different evolution. So what would you say today are the top things that you have to face as a founder that, again, most people aren't seeing?
T Today, my biggest challenge is, aside from people,
Mm,
just humans in general, I sometimes say, business would be so easy if it weren't for all the people. But aside from that, staying focused is hugely challenging, at least for me, especially with tech. Um, I'll get started on something and something catches my eye, and before you know it, I'm miles from where I started. Um, but yeah, staying focused, and just keeping your head square with your mission. Um, it's been hard for me, but I've gotten better at it.
Yeah. And what would you say helps you get back on track when you get off track from focusing on the mission?
Talking to a customer,
That's
solving a
nice.
problem for a customer, um, that just instantly reminds me why I set out to do this, and I'm good again.
Yeah. And what you're doing it for.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is awesome. And I'm curious too, because I mean, I think we all have those moments. Do you purposely, like, when you feel that, just say, I'm going to connect with a customer today and go out of your way to do it to reconnect? Or is that something that just sort of has naturally happened and you've noticed?
It I think I've intentionally gone and sought that out a handful of times. It usually just occurs naturally.
Yeah.
Uh, Sometimes though, for me, like in the beginning, I would sit here for 15, 16, 18 hours at a time. And I had to learn to just remove myself and go do something, go for a walk, go for a run, go to the gym, um,
Yeah.
something like that. And that's also been very helpful.
Yeah. I think it's really nice to find those little ways to reconnect ourselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
reground.
If I can't talk to a customer and it's really bad, I try to look at my old reviews and then I'm like, oh yeah, that was great. Oh, I love that person. Okay, okay, okay. Like get back on track.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Uh,
also useful for me is looking back to where we came from, like looking at some of our old systems, looking certainly at our numbers from 2020, 21 compared to where we are now. That's always very inspiring, to, look back and actually appreciate your own progress.
Yeah, I think as founders, we forget to do that sometimes, which it is very inspiring. I just did that again just for fun recently, but it was really cool just to look back at, the different years and knowing what was going on in my life and the transitions that were being made. And you kind of look at all the different sort of financial dynamics and you're like, this is cool. Like, this is fun to see the evolution of who you are through your profit and loss, or it's actually
Yeah.
fun. Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. And I'm curious too, like, what advice would you have for other founders who are looking to scale their business today as they grow their businesses?
Um, I would say take it slow. Focus on what's working in your business. Focus on what's working and build on that. If something's not working, get rid of it. Focus on what's working and just really, really drill into it. Expound on that. Um, your customers, they should trust you. If you're a business, build on that trust. Talk to your customers. Help get your customers to influence your decisions as you grow and develop the company. You might have some really great ideas, but your customers are the ones paying for it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great advice. Yeah, and thank you again so much for coming on. This has been a really cool interview. I think we got a lot of data, a lot of details.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and let's let everyone know where they can find you so that we can check you out, your company.
Yeah, you can find us at takeoffmonkey.com. Um, you'll have our emails and everything else is in there. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, and if you guys really enjoyed this, if you loved it, feel free to like it, share it with someone who you think would also get a lot of value out of it. And thank you again, Tommy. I really appreciate this today.
Likewise, thank you.